simplifies your life.
What the fuck was that, Ken?
Joey Fats Radio, row 1C1.
I've been loving every second. I'm not rooting for injuries openly, but
I just pretended that was Brian Deegan.
I'm so fucking pumped. I'll be like, yeah, bitch, fuck
I will do that.
I'm gonna find him on LinkedIn and be like, "Did you punch a kid in the face? Tell me the truth."
All right, Sean brought his A game tonight. All right, okay, I like it. I like where this is going. And I don't want to put this as like a thing. Like, he wasn't a bad guy as far as we know.
Who said he was a bad guy?
I don't know, but I feel like we're painting him in this light that he was like this bad guy, and I don't want to do that. To this day, I hope you hear this. Fuck you. But rules are rules, okay? Stupid rule, but it was a rule. If you were a Crip and you were cooling in the cut, what do the Bloods do? Are they booling in the butt? Yep. Also, we are extremely juvenile, and yeah, whatever. Fuck you. All right.
You fucking smacked me in the ass, you dumb fuck.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. There's another episode of Row 1, Seat 1, Joey Fats Radio, live on the one, the only, the New Bedford Guide. Thank you all for joining me. Sorry, I'm still getting things a little bit adjusted here. I'm not used to doing solo shows by myself, so things might look a little bit, I don't know, like kind of off. Like, does it look off? I don't know. It might look off. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I didn't really spend much time setting up this camera before the show because I didn't know I was doing this shit solo until a pretty short time ago. I mean, that's a lie. I did have time to get it done, but I just decided not to because, I don't know. I just didn't feel like doing it. So I didn't. And now we're doing it, but now we're good. So thank you, everyone, for joining me, Joey Fats. No Plizzy, no Mr. Betancourt tonight. I am flying 100% solo. Row 1C1. Thank you all. 774-992-8702 is the number if you want to give me a call and get your thoughts, your concerns, your whatever's really on your mind tonight. I honestly don't care. I've got a couple of things I'm going to talk about. It's going to be a relatively shorter show than usual. We're going to get into a little bit of the NBA because, well, let's face it, the Luka era is well underway in Los Angeles, and I couldn't be more excited for that. In about 55 or is it 10 or 10:30 tonight, the Lakers will be in Dallas to face the Mavericks. So Luka's going to go off on his old team. I'm thinking Luka drops. I'm saying at least a 40-burger and a triple-double. I'm thinking LeBron's going to have 25 and a triple-double, and they are going to smash the Mavericks like they've never been smashed before. And that's just me being a pure homer. And I don't care because guess what? It's the fucking Lakers. And we get to be this is how we get to be. This is why being a Lakers fan is so great. Because no matter how bad it might seem, it's only temporary. And to all my friends out there, all my Lakers brothers, all my friends that are Lakers fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The downtimes never really seemed to last. Like, we had that 7-year period between Kobe and LeBron where we were like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, this is terrible. How are we ever going to recover from this? And then all of a sudden, LeBron James is just like, I'm going to the Lakers. And we're like, oh, right there it is. So for us, and I mean by us, I mean, yeah, us, Lakers fans, because I am part of the team. Fuck you. It's a very short-lived downtime. So we'll get into a little bit of that. We'll get into a little bit of the NFL offseason nonsense that's taking place. You have everybody kind of posturing now. The Combine coming up, I believe, this weekend or this week, end of this week, right? Starting tomorrow, maybe? I believe Sean's usually my go-to guy on this. I don't really pay attention to the Combine, but I'm pretty sure it starts this week, if not next week. But we'll get into that. The rumors, and right now you're getting to the part of the offseason where teams and GMs are positioning themselves within the media and the bloggers and the beat writers and everything else against the players and vice versa. You know, the Browns saying We don't give a shit what Myles Garrett says. We're not trading him. Cute. If Myles Garrett says he wants to be traded, guess what? You're the Browns. You're probably going to trade him. We're getting into – I'm not going to get into draft projections because I think that's a giant waste of fucking time. But I will be super bummed if the Giants and the Browns end up with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, respectively. Other than that, I couldn't really give two fucks other than who the Broncos draft. I just don't want to see Sanders and Ward get wasted in shitty franchises. Now, the Giants, I'll give them a pass. I think maybe Big Blue can turn it around. The Browns, there's no hope. So whoever goes there has got just a death wish straight out. So we'll get into a little bit of that. The Gronkowski news that Gronk is coming out of retirement and wants to play for the Broncos. Spare me. Just spare me. We're not doing that. Nope. No, thank you. And then we'll get into some NASCAR talk because right now I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but the best sporting product going right now is NASCAR, and it's kind of not even close. We've had two absolutely fantastic finishes, two great races. We're coming up on Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, the premier road course in the United States now. And we'll give you a little preview of the bets and the betting odds for that. I'm going to hold off on my betting on my bets, putting down money on my bets until at least I see what qualifying yields. I'll explain why when we get to that portion. But there's a couple of guys that I really want to put money on that I'm really hoping don't qualify well, so that way I can get better return on them because I think they're going to run really well. That being said, if you have something else that you want to talk about, whether you want to talk about the United States and Canada's hockey game the other night, you want to talk about Steve Smith absolutely annihilating some poor guy's wife and getting caught. Yeah, man. Phones are open. 774-992-8702. That's the number. Get at me. I'm here by myself tonight, so if you want to talk, we got time. This is all it is. It's just me, a drink, a microphone, and you guys. So we'll get into, like I said, we'll get into what we talked about here in a few minutes, and we'll move on from there. So we'll start with the NBA. And again, if you want to call in and you want to talk about something else that I'm not talking about right now, feel free. Tonight's a free-form night. This is not one of those rigid agenda nights where it's like, okay, we're talking about this, you got to talk about this. No. I'm calling all the shots tonight. Not that that's any different from any other night, but I'm in a good mood. It's a free-formish kind of night. So you want to get something in, please, by all means, feel free. But the NBA, the trade deadline's over. The All-Star break is over, thank God. What an abject disaster the All-Star break was for the NBA, as usual. I don't know how they're going to fix this. It's bad, folks. It's really bad. The NBA's got a serious problem on its hands. When you have, and I don't care what I really don't care what your opinion on it is. LeBron James is still the premier superstar in the NBA. He is still the guy. He is this generation's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, whatever you want to say. He is the dude right now. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's he's not the best player in the league right now. He is still the NBA. And when you have the face of the NBA opt out of the All-Star game day of because, my ankle's sore and just not really feeling it, man. And then you still show up to team pictures and all the other stuff, but you're in street clothes, you're not dressed. Like, that's a bad look. And I've been a LeBron defender, I'd say, for a good majority of his career. At least his first half, until he went to Miami. And then there was the 1 year in Miami where I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm all set with him. The decision rubbed me the wrong way. A lot of stuff rubbed me the wrong way. Then he did the what should I do commercial. Should I just let you villainize me? Should I just be the good guy? What should I do? And then he just started this perpetual nonsense of just being the victim all the time. And you're like, dude, just stop. Please, I either be the heel or don't, but you keep trying to play this middle ground, and it's really kind of getting on everybody's nerves. And then towards the end of his stint in Miami, like once I kind of get over that, I was like, all right, you're kind of a doofus, but I still love you. And I supported him again, starting in 2012 when they went on that run. They beat OKC, and then they got to the finals again against the Spurs, lost, and beat them again, and whatever, did their thing. LeBron's era in Miami was great, and then when he went back to Cleveland, I was all in again. I wanted him to win one for Cleveland so bad, and he did it in the most dramatic fashion. We all remember coming back 3-1 against Golden State, which made Golden State go out and get Kevin Durant. They're like, oh, we won 73 games, but we couldn't beat LeBron James, so we got to go get Kevin Durant as a hired gun to win the next 2 titles, which they did. And listen, nothing against Golden State. They went and did what was they did what they could, and they grabbed what was available to them. But LeBron's career, this now 22-year, 23-year run that we're in of LeBron, he is the face of the NBA and has been now for quite some time. And when he bails out on the All-Star game, and I know the All-Star game is not what it used to be. It's not even good. It's not even worth watching. It's not even fun. It's not entertaining. Defense is barely even optional. But when you have the face of the league bow out due to ankle soreness or whatever lame excuse he used, and again, I get it. The guy's played an extra maybe 4 seasons over the course of his career just in the postseason. You know what I mean? He's got to be over 300 postseason games at this point, right? I mean, it's an asinine amount of wear and tear on your body, and I understand that. But you couldn't just say like, hey, like, I'm going to be here as a figurehead, but I'm not going to play. Like, we all know I'm not going to play. I'm 40 years old. Trying to win a championship. We just traded for Luka. Like, let's let somebody else be in my spot, right? No, LeBron's going to make it. He somehow, some way has to make it all about him. And I think that's what pisses people off the most about not just LeBron, but the NBA in general, is it has become such a, like, self-centered, narcissistic, look at me league. The product isn't good. Like, let's face it, nobody wants to watch guys hoisting up 76 threes a game. It's boring. It's not good basketball. It's not fun. I don't people like, oh, well, what, would you rather have missed mid-range jumpers? Like, yeah, kind of. Because at least they got to do something to create that shot. You know what I mean? At least they got to move the ball, do anything, make something happen in order to miss that 15, 16-footer, 18-footer, whatever it is. I understand that. Watching guys just pull up to the three-point line with nobody in their face and launch a brick, it's boring basketball. Sorry. It's just not fun. I want to see good defense. I want to see athleticism. I want to see guys stretching the floor. I want to see people making moves. I want to see people creating shots, getting down inside. I want to see post-up game. I want to see, like, take me back to the 80s when Kevin McHale, the human coat hanger, would just dominate the fuck out of the inside against guys bigger, stronger, and faster than him. Take me back. Like, you know what? At this point, give me back the 06 Spurs and the big fundamental. Like, I'll take that over this, whatever this is now that we have. You know what I mean? Like, you got guys like LeBron bowing out of the All-Star game. You got guys like Jason Tatum who just can't help but rip off everybody and anybody and don't have an original bone in their body. It's like, it's just everything's so carbon copied and watered down and shitty. And the NBA's got a major problem on their hands. And I think they realize that. And if Adam Silver's going to do something about it, he's got to do something quick, because the NBA is sinking and it's going fast, and people are walking away from the game in droves. I didn't watch a single minute of that All-Star game. I didn't watch the dunk contest. I didn't watch anything. I turned on the dunk contest and I see, like, what is it, Matt McClung or whatever the fuck his name is, kid who doesn't even play in the league. He's like a D-League or a G-League player. I'm like, cool. Who the fuck is this guy? Where's LeBron James or Ja Morant? Where's SGA? Like, I don't know. Like, where's all the good dunkers? Like, what happened to the days of Vince Carter versus Kobe Bryant in the dunk contest? Where is that? Where is the competitive fire and competitive nature amongst the players? Where has that gone? I mean, you got Paul George blatantly just ripping teams off now. And he's like, yeah, I'm not good to play. I'm still a little injured. Anyway, I'll be in Cabo if you need me. See you later. It's just not a good look. So the NBA All-Star break was an absolute abject disaster. The only thing that's saving the NBA right now, is the fact that Luka Doncic got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers and is now teamed up with the aforementioned LeBron James. And not for nothing, but we've never seen a trade of this magnitude, this caliber of player get moved this late in the season while still well within their prime. It's never happened before. It'll probably never happen again. That's the only thing making the NBA interesting right now. And tonight at whatever, 10 or 10:30 when the Lakers and the Mavs tip off, probably 10 because it's in Dallas, right? So that would be 2 hours difference, 8 o'clock their time. When they tip off tonight, everybody's going to be watching to see what Luka does against his old team. You know, is he going to come out and drop 60? Is he going to set a record and set the scoring record in that building, you know, in a Lakers jersey? Or is he going to come out and flop? Or is he going to do what Kyrie did and go back to Boston and just lay an egg every time? You know what I mean? Like, so the NBA's got that going for him, and that's the only thing generating interest right now because the product on the floor is less than desirable at best. It's just not palatable. Nobody's interested. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody cares. But people care about the players. They care about the stories, and they care about the drama. So even though the basketball might not be good or up to par from what we're used to, the storylines alone can carry this league from time to time. And this is one of those instances. A 25-year-old superstar getting traded to a Western Conference, arch rival. The Lakers are everybody's arch rival in the West, right? Everybody hates the Lakers, except Lakers fans. So it's kind of like one of those, you're either with us or you're not. The Lakers are that team that they're the Yankees of the NBA. You know, you bought and paid for all your championships, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, shut up. You know, maybe if the Celtics won more than 2 in a fucking 40-year period, you wouldn't be bitching so much. But, you know, talk to me about Trader Danny and all of his assets for fucking 10 years. No, how'd that work out for you? Oh, you finally won one. Oh, golf claps. Good job, guys. You finally won one. Good job. All it took was for you to beat a bunch of 5 seeds that didn't have their top 2 players every time you played them. But whatever, neither here nor there. I get it. You can only play who's in front of you. You know, I can feel Paul rolling his eyes from here. You know, and you do again with your Mickey Mouse bubble title, man. Fuck off with that shit. Then I could make an argument that the bubble title was the hardest title for anybody to win, in recent history. So don't give me that shit. But the Lakers are the villains. They're the bad guys that everybody loves to hate, and I love that. You know, obviously anybody who knows me knows I thrive off of that. That's my thing. Like, I love to be the hated. It's just because if you're hated, you're good. And everybody knows that. So the storylines are carrying the NBA right now. The product on the court is not. We will see how this, these next couple of weeks pan out because at the end of the day, if the Lakers get in and the Lakers are going to get in the playoffs, who are they going to match up with? I mean, we just saw them mop the floor with Denver on Saturday night and lead, never relinquish the lead from the opening tip till the final buzzer. They led that game, which is, a breath of fresh air for me because the Nuggets have had LA's number the last 3 years. I mean, we've just gotten our asses kicked by that team over and over and over again. And it was getting annoying. And now we finally go into their house. They're going for, I think it was a franchise record, 10th straight win, and just smack the shit out of them. And that was fucking great. And I loved that. It was fun. It was great. It was good to watch. The Lakers defense was flying around. If you had told me somehow that the Lakers defense was going to play better without Anthony Davis, I would have called you an absolute asshole. But you can see the energy, the effort, the free-flowingness of the team. It's almost like it's loosened everybody up. And they're playing better because of it. So I'm excited for the Lakers going forward. I would love nothing more than to see a Lakers-Celtics finals this year. I mean, that would just be off the charts tremendous in terms of stories, in terms of juice, in terms of getting people reinvigorated and reinterested in the NBA. I mean, I think the NBA needs that almost more than anything at this point. A Boston-LA finals, Tatum going for his second, LeBron and Luka, paired up at the trade deadline. LeBron going for his fifth, which we would have at that point, if LeBron does get 5, ties Kobe, ties Duncan, comes within 1 of Jordan. I'll tell you what, the LeBron haters are going to have a really rough time with that one. They're going to have a really rough time because he's already got all the statistical, he dominates the stat sheet. Every statistical record belongs to him, every meaningful one anyway. And if he ends up with 5 titles, because right now you can kind of make the argument, well, he's only got 4. And when we say only 4, we're like, well, he doesn't have 5 like Kobe did. He doesn't have 5 like Timmy did. I know Larry only had 3, but Larry was a different breed, a different generation. But if you tie him with Magic and Kobe and Duncan, and you put him within 1 of Jordan, and he's still going to come back and play on a Lakers team next year that could be even better than this year, and he's looking to go in for 6 to tie Jordan. If he ties Jordan, the meltdown is going to be biblical. I mean, biblical. And it will be off the walls. ESPN will just be, it will be just, it already is LeBron Center, but that's all it will be. It'll be LeBron James talk 24/7, 7 days a week. It'll be the most obnoxious thing for everybody who's not a LeBron or a Lakers fan. And even if he gets 5, right? Let's say he ends up with 5. I think we're still entertaining that conversation in a couple of months. If LeBron gets his 5th ring this June, and let's say he does it against the defending champion Celtics, who I think are one of the worst champions in recent history, team-wise. I mean, I just don't think they're very skilled or high. Like, let's put it this way. I don't think Tatum or Brown are cracking the NBA's top 75 at any point. That's just me. But let's say they do it against the defending champs. I think we're looking at Chernobyl-level meltdowns from the LeBron James haters. People are going to lose their shit. Because then when you start thinking about it, now the argument is going to become, okay, well, LeBron's now got multiple titles with 2 teams, a solo title with the Cleveland Cavs. He's got 3 titles, he's won titles in 3 different cities, 3 different teams. Almost 3 different eras when you think about it, because if you think about it, when he won in Cleveland, that was kind of the beginning of this 3-ball era that we're seeing with Golden State. So you can almost make it which I guess is kind of led into this one, but he was in the beginning of it. But definitely two different eras, 2 different styles of play, and beating teams like the Spurs, Kevin Durant and the Thunder, Steph Curry and the Warriors. If he could add the Boston Celtics as a Laker to his resume, I don't know. I feel like that is going to put a lot of people, and by a lot of people I mean LeBron haters, in a bad spot. I'm just saying it's going to give the LeBron James fanboys and the LeBron James fans, okay, those are 2 different things, a lot of ammo. It's going to give the Lakers fans a lot of ammo. It's going to give the Boston Celtics haters a lot of ammo. It's going to give a lot of people a lot to talk about. Because the Jordan fanboys are going to have to be on, now they're completely on their heels. Because God forbid LeBron gets 1 more. If LeBron gets 6, I mean, At that point, right? That's what Jordan fans have told us is the gold standard, is to get 6. If LeBron does that, then do we relinquish the crown? Is it now officially LeBron's crown because he owns every statistical record known to man, plus he has the same amount of rings? Or are we going to split? So are they going to sit there? And listen, I already know the answer to this question. Are they going to sit there and split hairs? And I'm going to say, well, LeBron was great, but he didn't average as many points in the finals as Jordan did. And Jordan was 6-0. LeBron's got some blemishes in that department, and LeBron, he was never Defensive Player of the Year like Jordan was, and he didn't put up the. I already know what the answer is going to be. It's going to be the latter. It's the splitting of hairs is going to start to come in because now the LeBron James haters and the Jordan fanboys alike are going to have to combine their powers to really just tamp down the Jordan, the LeBron love that is going to come flowing from the national media in every way, shape, and form. Now, you'll have your holdouts. I'm sure you'll have your people out there, the national media people that just hate LeBron James and will never put him on Michael's level. And not for nothing, personally, I don't believe LeBron is as good as Michael Jordan. I don't think he's as good as Magic or Larry. Not because he's not as skilled or talented, but because he didn't play in that era. And I hold that era, and that's a special place. That goes on a pedestal. So for me personally, LeBron can only be the 4th greatest player of all time. And I know that probably goes up a lot of LeBron James or Jordan fanboys, Jordan haters asses sideways. But that's just me. And it's only because I put that era on a pedestal. That 80s era. To me, Larry Bird's the greatest and always will be the greatest. All right, that's period, end of story. Then it's Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, 2 and 2A, whatever, or 1A, 1B, 1C, however you want to dice it up. Kobe, LeBron. And then you get into Kareem and Shaq and, the whole rest of the list or whatever. But to me, LeBron can only, even unless he goes on a run and gets 7 or 8 titles. Because then at this point, to do it at 40 years old and win a title, that's still, it is pretty fucking impressive regardless of the era. But I don't know. I just don't respect this era of basketball like I did, like I respected the 80s era. And that's maybe not fair because they can't help whatever they're playing in. But it's how I feel. So, fuck off. If you don't like it, kiss my ass. But the NBA is coming back. Hopefully, we will see the NBA. Hopefully, it just becomes interesting. I just want it to be fun again. My thing is, I wanted to be so excited for the Luka trade because I'm a Lakers fan. I've been a Lakers fan my whole life. When I was growing up as a kid, my dad had all these Celtics highlights on VHS that he would record off the TV. And, this is back in the 80s. So he had, the 84 finals, the 85, 86, 87, all those years. And he had this one VHS that he recorded all this stuff off the news, local news, sports specials. I remember watching Saturday Night Live with Church Lady, with Walter Payton and Joe Montana, and a young Dana Carvey. I learned to count by 2 and 3 before I learned to count by 1 because instead of watching Sesame Street, I was watching reruns of the 86, Celtics playoff run. And I remember watching, Kurt Rambis get clotheslined by Kevin McHale and being like, oh, shit, that's pretty cool. And little did my dad know he was creating a Lakers fan through all this. He didn't tell me who I had to root for or who I was supposed to root for. He gave me the right to choose as a young boy. He just said, you can pick whoever you want. You just have to stick with them. You can't jump ship every year and be like, oh, the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl. I'm a Cowboys fan now. Oh, the Niners are in the Super Bowl. Now I'm a Niners fan. No. You pick your team and you stick with it, which is why I end up with the Broncos, the Lakers, and the Astros. who were always my NL wildcard team, but that was before I denounced the Red Sox. But the Red Sox, I wasn't. That was the only thing. I think that was the only team I was not given a choice to be a fan of. I think my grandfather was like, "No, you're a Red Sox fan. That's how this goes." And I was like, "Okay." And so I was, up until John Henry told me to go fuck myself so many times that I said, "You know what, John? I will go fuck myself. Let's go Stros. I'll never root for your team again." But the day John Henry dies or sells the Red Sox, hey man, it's totally different ball game. But I've been watching the Lakers and the Celtics since I was a kid, and I just put that 80s era, just that to me was the best era. It was great defense, physicality. The three ball was a novelty at the time. I mean, it only came up, it only started in 79. Bird and Magic's rookie year was when it became official in the NBA. So the three ball was like, it was a dagger. It wasn't, it wasn't just something you relied upon in order to get ahead and build big leads and go on big runs. It was like, nah, man, like if you were hitting threes, like that was a different type of it meant something different back then. And for that reason and that reason only, I can't put LeBron in that era, that echelon of player. And I mean, maybe I guess maybe if he ties Jordan or surpasses Jordan at some time in terms of championships and keeps stacking up the numbers and it just becomes undeniable, you're like, all right, well, I guess this is where we're at. Then maybe. But I didn't do that for Tom Brady, so why would I do it for LeBron James? Just saying. Peyton Manning was always, to me, the better quarterback than Tom Brady. I've watched Dan Marino play football. I feel like there's 3 or 4 guys at least that are better than Tom Brady. Not to say Tom Brady's bad. He's the greatest winner of all time, the most accomplished quarterback of all time, the most successful quarterback of all time. A lot of things worked out in his favor, and that's fine. Not his fault. 7 championships is 7 championships. But when I used my 20/20 vision and the functioning brain cells that I have left, I don't think he's the greatest. Not the best. He's close to it. He's fucking excellent at everything. There's nothing really, no flaws in his game. That's for damn sure. But a lot of other guys did a lot of things that Tom Brady didn't, and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. But I didn't do it for Brady. Why would I do it for LeBron? I guess I'm just kind of spitballing out loud here. I don't know. We'll have to see. I guess we'll have to burn that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, the NBA, hopefully it gets fun. I'm hoping it gets to be interesting. And I think Celtics Lakers in the finals with Luka and orange, purple and gold will do just that. And I do think that is a realistic possibility. I mean, I had a conversation today with somebody at the gym, just, bullshitting, like, the West isn't, it's not like it's, that's like, oh shit, like, the Nuggets are just, they're a fucking wagon, dude. Like, nobody's getting through them. Like, we saw them get beat last year. We saw the Lakers annihilate them on Saturday night with Luka going off. I feel like the Nuggets are a beatable team. So I don't really fear anybody. I mean, OKC, I know they're good. Minnesota, I know they're good. I just don't know that anybody out there is good enough to be like, oh, yeah, that they're definitely going to beat the Lakers in 7. Hands down, no doubt about it. Now, could the Lakers end up losing a best-of-7 series? Of course they could. Things happen. It's just the NBA. It's the way it works. But is anybody head and shoulders right now better than the Lakers? I don't think so. And I think the Lakers are only going to continue to get better as they continue to grow with Luka. So that being said, that's my NBA piece. I want to be more excited for the NBA than I am. But it's tough because you watch a game and you're like, God damn it. This is so boring. It's so stupid. But the storylines keep it going. 774-992-8702. If you want to give me a call, feel free. We're going to wrap this thing up in probably about another half hour or so. So we'll do another 30-ish minutes here tonight with you guys and just, kind of spitball and bullshit and talk some nonsense. I'll do a quick spot in the NFL, and then I'll wrap it up with the NASCAR stuff, because the NASCAR bets have been I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me, hey, who do you like? Who you pulling? Who you betting on this weekend? Obviously, my track record, I think, speaks for itself. Pretty good. We're not unbeatable, but we're pretty good. We're playing with house money for at least another 2 weeks. So we got this week and next week, and we got house money to burn. So we'll get after it. But NFL-wise, the big story that came out today, there was a couple. So there was one of the main ones was that the Browns said that they were not trading Myles Garrett. They understand he wants to be traded. They said, we're not trading him, which means we're open to hearing offers. All that means to me is that they haven't got an offer that they like or they can accept yet, so they're not doing it. You'll probably see Myles Garrett, realistically, if he's going to get moved, it won't be until at least free agency starts. Maybe next week at the Combine. I think there's maybe like a really sliver of a chance that could happen. But in all likelihood, you're probably looking around draft day or sometime thereafter. I don't see the Browns. The Browns aren't going to rush this thing out the door. They're not looking to unload Myles Garrett, especially if they're going to go after a guy like Cam Ward, who they think could be the quarterback of the future. And they're going to be like, well, we got our quarterback of the future. Why are we going to get rid of our best defensive player? That doesn't make sense. We want to build around these guys. It's all posturing. And you just never know with these things. To try to predict the timing of a trade is a fool's errand because you just don't know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. No matter how much information you think you're privy to, you're never privy to it all. And also never underestimate the stupidity of NFL GMs. They could have a great offer sitting on their desk and they're like, no. And then 6 weeks later, they turn around and they'll accept a lesser offer than they got because that ship sailed, for one reason or another. I'm like, damn, should have taken that. Like, well, yeah, dummy. Of course you should have. Like, you should have known that, but neither here nor there. So Myles Garrett, allegedly right now, not being moved by the Browns, or at least they're claiming they're not moving him. We'll see how that plays out. I'm sure, Garrett will threaten to hold out and all that, and unless he gets what he wants, which he should. I mean, let's be honest. It's the Cleveland Browns. Who the fuck wants to play there? But then again, I don't understand why these guys who are in-house with Cleveland, they take that deal from the Browns without exploring their other options. I mean, I know the Browns have to overpay a little bit to keep good players in-house, but you don't think you'd maybe just want to test free agency after coming off of a really good year? I don't know. Just seems to me like it's how many times you got to like how many guys have to think, and I get it, it's the NFL. Everybody thinks they're that guy. But how many guys have to be like, no, I'm going to be the guy to turn this franchise around and fail before you kind of sit back and be like, he was really good and he couldn't turn the franchise around, and he was even better and he couldn't turn the franchise around. Now, I think I'm better than both of those guys, but maybe it's not the player that's the thing that's preventing the franchise from getting turned around. Maybe it's the franchise that's preventing itself. Just a thought, Jacksonville, the Raiders, the Browns, the Jets, the Cardinals to a degree, even though they have a great GM. They're just teams that are bad and stay bad, and it seems like they're bad every year. And Chicago's another one. Like they can't get out of their own way. So when you go there, you kind of already know, like, well, I'm fucked. Like Caleb Williams had no chance. If he was ever going to be good, that ship sailed was the second the Chicago Bears pulled his name out of that or put his name in the envelope. It was over. It was over. It was never going to happen. So take it for what it's worth. If you're Myles Garrett, I mean, yeah, I would probably hold out and threaten to hold out and be like, listen, I'm not playing another down in a Cleveland Brown uniform. Do what you got to do. And see where that gets you. I mean, go somewhere. I mean, unless it's Kansas City, don't go there. Please don't go to Kansas City. That'd be the only place I don't want you to go. You can literally go anywhere else. Now, I really won't care, or at least be that mad about it. If he goes to Kansas City, I'll be fucking furious. That defense does not need Myles Garrett. They're already good enough. I know the Eagles exposed him the other night, but Jesus Christ. Can you imagine Myles Garrett on that team? Giving Spags that that level of a player. Like, god damn, dude. Yes, Destry, I'm riding solo tonight. Had to do it. Wanted to do a show. Nobody else did or could. So I did it I just got to sometimes the boss has got to put the company on his back and just roll with it and, handle his business. So it is what it is. I guess I'm technically the only one that gets paid to do this. And by paid, I mean not paid at all. But I invest the money in it. So, yeah, if I want my investment, my money to go to something good, I guess I got to show up, right? No, they did expose the defense. They did. They made that defense just key in on Saquon Barkley, and they opened it up. I mean, they beat McDuffie. They were throwing the ball. Jalen was throwing the ball all over the lot. Again, because they were just so hyper focused on Saquon, and Hurts took advantage of it. And we said that going into the game, like we didn't expect that. Because we thought if it went on Hurts' shoulders, it was going to be, a problem. But if you listen back to last week's show, the Eagles won that game because of Saquon Barkley. Not because he put up great numbers, but because the Chiefs' defense was just so terrified of letting him beat them that they were willing to roll the dice on Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts absolutely cashed in and crushed them. So, I mean, you can't fault them. The Chiefs, the Eagles, they did what they took what the Chiefs gave them. And listen, I think the Chiefs defense was good. I think they were a little bit overrated throughout the year. I mean, they had good players. Spags called great games. They did get a lot of really fortunate breaks though, all year long. And we talked about it ad nauseum all season and then the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. I just don't know that. I don't know that the Chiefs I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs got exposed on both sides of the ball. Like it was like, oh, it's not a one possession game and the refs aren't bailing you out left and right. Like, oh, this is what happens when you play a team that just puts their foot in your ass and runs off with it. The fact that Jalen Hurts did what he did doesn't surprise me because he did it to him 2 years ago. The problem was the Eagles' defense didn't do what they were supposed to do 2 years ago. So now the fact that the Eagles' defense stepped up, and we talked about it last week, for them to get the amount of pressures and sacks on Patrick Mahomes by never blitzing and only rushing 4 the entire game was incredible. That is one of the best defensive performances you will see in a Super Bowl ever. That's up there with the 08 Steelers, the 2015 Broncos, the 02 Bucks. It's not up there with the 2000 Ravens. That was a different level of dominance, I think. It wasn't like 85 Bears good, but it was on that second level of elite, like the elite. And then, that next rung of I think the 02 the 02 Bucks kind of started that level, where they were like, yeah, we're not 85 Bears good, but we're pretty fucking close. Not 2000 Ravens good, but we're pretty close. That's that level. That's where I kind of put the 2015 Broncos, the 08 Steelers, pick a Patriots team, 01, 3, or 4. Those teams that were they were good, but they weren't holy shit. What a complete dominant. You could make the argument the 2015 Broncos defense was that dominant, given the fact that Cam Newton was 15-1 MVP, all that shit, the numbers they did, and what they did in the playoffs. I think maybe I'm underrating the 2015 Broncos a little bit, but neither here nor there. But yeah, the Eagles defense stepped up. They were big time this year. And like I said, we talked about it last week. They weren't taking Kansas City's shit. And they weren't leaving anything to chance. And if the Kansas City Chiefs wanted to sell out to stop Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts was like, by all motherfucking means, go right ahead. Please do. Legion of Boom, no, I don't put them. They're up there too. They they would be, I think, on the same level as like the 2015 Broncos. I'd put them probably like 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens, and then 2013 Seahawks, 2015 Broncos, like 3 and 3A, either one. And then I would go 08 Steelers, 02 Bucks. Let me think. And then after that, then you start getting into the slew of Patriots defenses. That Giants 07 defense has to be up there somewhere for what they did. Yeah, it'd be tough. I'd have to go back and kind of look. That 2010 Packers defense was really good. I don't know if they were like elite. 2012 Ravens, no, they gave up a bunch of points in that game. They were a good team, but they were old. They weren't a great defense. They were just very opportunistic. They had great players on that defense. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were fucking tremendous T-Sizzle. But they were on their last legs in 2012. They were not a dominant unit. They were just really good. The 14 Patriots were pretty good. But then again, they gave up a bunch of points to the Seahawks in that game. So anyway, we could lament on that. That's actually a good topic for one of these like off-season shows. Like, give me your top 10 Super Bowl defensive performances. Best Super Bowl defenses. I would have fun with that one. Because even like the 06 Colts, even though they weren't a good defense all year, that 06 Colts defense turned it up, late in the season, and Bob Sanders got healthy. And they just started trashing teams. So, yeah, they were blowing the Niners out of that game. It was going to be a boring game, remember? We were like, oh, fuck off. Like, this is going to suck. And then the Niners pulled some rabbits out of hats and ultimately came up short because, Colin Kaepernick doing Colin Kaepernick things like, oh, man, I got Randy Moss one-on-one over there on a fade route. Now, let me roll out and try to throw this at Michael Crabtree in triple coverage. What's the worst that could happen? Not the greatest receiver of all time, arguably second greatest receiver of all time. Nah, fuck that guy. I know he's old, but fuck him. He's never fucking won a jump ball in his life. Unbelievable. But no, I would have to go back and look a bunch of them, but yeah, the lights going out was sus, to say the least. Ray Lewis and the Ravens still think it was all done on purpose. I don't think it was done on purpose, but the NFL, I mean, again, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. How many times are we going to see multi-billion-dollar industries leave something to chance? Not often. They don't like to leave things to chance. Even when chance might actually be the best thing for them, they're like, nope, we want to control. We want to make it seem like it's left to chance, but not to be totally left to chance. So, but the NFL offseason stuff, the other big story that was trending today that I found fucking hilarious was that Rob Gronkowski, according to Cecil Lamey, Denver, I think he's Denver Post, said that Rob Gronkowski was interested in coming out of retirement and joining the Broncos because he had worked with Sean Payton at Fox and, loved Bo Nix and saw what this team, was doing. And that got shot down. According to Ian Rappaport, NFL Outsider, he said that's not true. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. Gronkowski or his agent haven't said anything about it. Or at least to my knowledge, not since I've been on the air, did I see anything that they had said anything about it. I don't see how a guy who hasn't played football in it's got to be close to 1,200 days now, almost 4 years. Why would he come out of retirement now? B, why would anybody want him to come out of retirement? I mean, I can't imagine he's going to be, Gronk shape. Maybe he could. Maybe he is one of these absolute fucking freaks that could get into shape by training camp. But also, I don't know, like, I know his last season wasn't bad. And you look at it with Tampa, I think he had like 800 yards receiving, like high 50s, low 60s in receptions. I think he had like 6 touchdowns. Like, he had a pretty decent year, his final year in Tampa. But man, 2021 was a long time ago. Like, this isn't I don't know. This isn't the PGA Tour, man, where you can just like take a couple years off and fix your swing, come back. I guess like no, it's not golf, dog. Like this is the NFL. Even Rob's got to know that, and that's why I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. I think it was just somebody throwing something in. I think what happened is I think somebody got the Cecil Lamey, and they got him. They got him to run with a story that was 100% false, and he got, if you will. So sucks to be Cecil, but then again, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe his source was right, and maybe Gronk was. Maybe that's just it, right? Oh, Gronk said, like, yeah, I'm considering coming out of retirement. I'd go play in Denver with Sean Payton. I love Sean Payton. Like, he can consider it all he wants. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So maybe that's the defense side of it is, well, he did say he was considering it, but, I mean, I'm considering, buying a Ferrari next year. And I mean, I know it's $1.3 million, but, it's a little steep. But, I think with enough overtime and the right money moves, like, I think I could make the payments on it. And, so I'm considering it. I'm definitely considering it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. In fact, it's almost guaranteed not to happen, but doesn't mean I'm not considering it. I'm considering a lot of things in life. I'm considering, I don't know, pick a thing. I'm considering changing careers. I'm considering taking up, pickleball. I'm considering, flying F-18s as a part-time hobby. There's tons of things I consider every day, but doesn't mean that I'm going to do them. So, or can. I just don't think the Rob Gronkowski thing. I don't know why everybody blew it out of proportion or where it came from. It was like a completely unfounded. Like one guy was like, "Sources tell me," and it's like, really? Like this is what we're doing? Like this is how you know it's the boring part of the offseason because one person says, "Oh, a source told me Rob Gronkowski might be coming out of retirement, and he wants to play for the Broncos." And we're like, now, given the current state of the tight end room on the Denver Broncos, I don't know that Rob Gronkowski wouldn't add something to that. And that's pathetic to say because a guy who hasn't played in 4 years might actually be able to add some positive attributes to that tight end room. That's not a good thing for us anyway, but I have faith Sean Payton will figure it out in free agency in the draft. I don't think the answer is going to be Rob Gronkowski, but hey, never underestimate anything in this league. It gets to a point where you just can't throw anything away. You just got to everything's going to be a possibility, and you just don't know. So I'm not holding my breath that I don't think we're going to be seeing many 87 Gronk jerseys in the stands come opening day. Let's put it that way. 774-992-8702. If you want to get your thoughts in. We've done the NBA, a little bit of NFL, not much going on in the NFL. I'm going to hit you with my NASCAR bets. We'll do a quick recap from Atlanta, and then we'll move on to COTA, and we'll wrap up the show until next week. And then hopefully next week we'll have a full house. We'll have a little bit more to talk about. We'll have, the NBA season is going to start to wind down here, which is going to produce hopefully some interesting storylines. We'll see how the Luka LeBron tandem does in L.A. We'll see where the Celtics start to position themselves going forward. Are they going to catch Cleveland for the one? Does it matter if they catch Cleveland for the one? Frankly, I don't. I don't think the one seed really means that much when you're talking about Boston and Cleveland, but who knows? And then we'll be making more bets. NASCAR is going to be a big driving force of the show going forward here this spring because we've got schedule wise it's great. I mean, it's lining up. We got really good races to bet on. Should have had this pulled up earlier, but we've got COTA this weekend. which is Circuit of the Americas, which is the Dallas road course. Then we go to Phoenix, and then we go to one of my favorite tracks in Las Vegas on March 16th, which I absolutely love Vegas. Vegas is one of my favorite tracks. Homestead, another great track. Then we get to Martinsville, which is always fun. Darlington, which is a great race. Bristol, which is the Bristol Day Race. That's a good one. And then my absolute favorite, Dega. And that rounds out April. And then we're on to May. And then May we get 5 great races. Texas, Kansas, Wilkesboro for the All-Star break. Technically it's 4 races because one's the All-Star Open, and then whoever wins the All-Star Open will race their way into the All-Star race a little bit later that night. And then we get the Coke 600 on Memorial Day weekend, which is, as you all know, the greatest weekend of the year for auto racing because you get the Monaco F1, Monaco GP in the morning. You get the Indianapolis 500 at noon, and then you get the Coke 600 at 5:30, 6 o'clock that night. Best day ever for auto racing. It is just, goddamn, does it fuck so hard. That is a wall-to-wall. I am waking up at 7 a.m. I am watching Monaco. We're kicking off mimosas super early that day. We got bagels and lox. Like, that's a big day in my house, that Memorial Day Sunday, because that is just simply, and then the Indy 500, without a doubt, the best race of the day. It never fails to entertain, but the schedule coming up is good. We've got, like I said, we got COTA this weekend, road course, total wild card. We're gonna have some fun with the bets on this one. Phoenix the following week, interesting race. Kind of already have an idea who I'm gonna pick for that one, but still a long way to go. So, and then Vegas, I fucking love. Vegas is just, goddamn, dude, that is one of my favorite fucking races of the year. No, I like F1, Destry. I like F1 a lot. I love F1. I just wish F1 was better, because F1 could be the greatest form of racing on the planet if they actually let them race and it wasn't so hoity-toity and up its own ass. I'm hoping next year, 2026, when Cadillac comes in and the cars get the shorter wheelbase, a little bit more narrow, a little bit more nimble, I'm hoping that they get back to being able to, kind of race close and not, be so cumbersome around corners. And I feel like it's going to be a lot better. And I think it's going to reset the field. I think you're going to see a lot next year. You're going to see a lot of new faces. I don't think you're going to have Max Verstappen win, 10 out of the first 11 races or whatever it was, like last year. This is going to be a different year. And not for nothing, but I looked at the odds for the Australian GP coming up in a couple of weeks, and Max Verstappen is not favorite to win that. He is number 2. Lando Norris is the favorite to win the F1 opener in Australia, I believe, in 2 weeks. So maybe the writing's on the wall that Red Bull is starting to take a back seat here. Obviously McLaren is coming up. They challenged Red Bull last year, and they didn't make a run for the title, but they did win the constructors, so they got that going for them. But no, F1 has been large in part for the last decade boring as fuck, because you had basically Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen win everything, and a few guys sprinkled in here and there when those guys had the random lap 1 crash or mechanical failure or whatever it was. But this year I'm hoping it's going to be more competitive, because McLaren's coming out of the gate already kind of established from last year, and I think they should be a lot better. And then I also hope that Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari revitalizes that team a little bit. I'm not a big Lewis Hamilton fan. He's never been my favorite, but Ferrari is like, how did my physical therapist put it? They're like the Yankees of Formula One, right? Everybody hates them, but the world is just a better place when they're good. And I 100% agree with that. So I would like to see Ferrari back up top, running up front regularly with McLaren, with Red Bull, And I'd like to see some of these other teams, these smaller teams. I mean, I'd love to see Aston Martin get up there and win. I'd love to see, the Alpine team get up there and win and challenge for some wins every once in a while. I want to see Mercedes. I love George Russell. I'm a huge George Russell guy. I love George Russell. That cheeky old cunt. I love that fucking pretty boy fuck. Like, I just want to see them do well, and I want to see more than just, 2 or 3 winners over the course of a season. I don't want F1 to be just the same guy over and over and over again and like, oh, he cut down a tire at an inopportune time. His race is done. That's the only reason he lost, though. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, he didn't win, but, like, also, meh. Like, we had it last year in Miami when McLaren, I think it was Lando, won Miami last year, and we were like, oh, well, that's nice. That doesn't suck. You're like, holy shit. Like, cool. Like, we got somebody who's not McLaren Red Bull to win, so that was nice. Now, little did we know that McLaren was going to actually use that as a launching pad and take off for the rest of the year, but I'm just super looking forward to 2026. We've got the Andretti Cadillac team coming in. I can't wait. I mean, I got my Cadillac hat on, I'm ready to go, man. I'm fired up for Caddy to come to Formula One next year, and it's going to be a bumpy road to start, as with every new team. It's the way it is. But there's going to be 22 cars on the grid now. You got 11 teams. I just think F1 is finally, for what feels like the first time in a long time, taking a step in the right direction. They're making the cars better. They're making them, more driver reliant, I guess, if you will, rather than just, who's got the fastest, who's got the best aero, who's got the best this, whatever. I don't want F1 just to be glorified time attack like it usually is. It's like, where you qualified is pretty much where you're going to finish unless somebody fucks up in turn 1 on the opening lap. So that is. This will be the first American team. I mean, the Haas racing team was like half American, but they were also funded by a bunch of European investors and shit like that. But this is going to be the first like true blue American team, and they're going to be recruiting American drivers almost exclusively. So pretty pumped on that. As we get into the NASCAR talk, you're going to hear the name Connor Zilic come up. I think this kid could potentially be an Andretti F1 driver before his career is over. If you don't know Connor Zilic, I believe he's 17 years old now. Let's see. Connor Zilic, he just turned 18, and he is going to be racing in the Cup Series in COTA this weekend. And it's a nice little segue into the bets. He's 18 years old, and I'm telling you right now, he has the second best odds to win this thing at 18 years old. Never competed in a Cup race. This is going to be his first Winston Cup NASCAR highest level race, and he is already the second best odds to win this race. The only guy who's got better odds than him are Shane Van Gisbergen, the New Zealand supercar phenom, who obviously is just an absolute juggernaut on road courses. When you put that guy behind the wheel of a V8 on a road course, and that not much that guy can't do. He is an absolute fucking beast when it comes to driving these cars. Now, that being said, this is NASCAR. These guys don't like people coming in and beating them at their own game, especially when they're relatively new and unestablished. So we'll see how Connor Zilic does, but I'm going to put down money on Connor Zilic to finish at least top 5. I'm putting money on the 18. I think he's plus 220 to finish top 5. I might just throw $100 on him to finish top 5. Because I think he's going to. I won't be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he won. I would say, let me rephrase that. I'd be surprised if he won, but not shocked. Because he does have the skill. I mean, he qualified on the pole his first time in a truck last year. This track, he took the pole by like a substantial amount. I forget exactly how much faster he was, but the kid is an absolute phenom. Like, you are going to hear the name Connor Zilic over the next 10, 15 years. If you pay attention to motorsports at any level, a bunch. This kid is going to be a household name before long, whether it's NASCAR, Formula One. Obviously, Red Bull's got his back right now. He's going to be driving a Red Bull car in the field on Sunday, so that's going to be something else to see. But my COTA bets, my Circuit of the America bets right now, and again, I'm going to wait until qualifying before I put any money down because I want to see how these lines change. And I think they're going to change for the better for me. Mostly because you've got Slick Willie and Tyler Reddick, who are both excellent road course drivers, at plus 850 and plus 900 respectively. Reddick at 850, Slick Willie at 900. Slick Willie won this race last year. I didn't know Slick Willie was a great road course driver. All right, the only time I didn't bet on him to win 2 years ago was when he won Watkins Glen. And I was like, shit. Didn't think you were that much of a, didn't think he was a road course guy. And they went out and dominated and the final stage of that race and whooped everybody at Watkins Glen. I was like, damn. The one time I didn't bet Slick Willie, like that's when we came up with the 11th commandment that, thou shalt not bet against Slick Willie. That was it. That was the last time we didn't bet on Slick Willie in any given weekend. So I got him and Reddick. Reddick is also another really good one. I got him at 850 on FanDuel as of right now. Christopher Bell, who just won this weekend. Again, another great road course driver. He's going off at plus 1,000. I like that bet. Kyle Larson at plus 1,100. I feel like I might lock that one in before qualifying because I only feel like those odds are going to go lower or higher, if you will. I think that's about as good of a payout as you're going to get. 11-1 on him. That's just, I mean, for the best driver, arguably on the planet, he can win anywhere except super speedways. So Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. Even though he did have a chance to win in Atlanta, we'll cover that in a sec. I just don't think you just don't bet on him at those tracks because there's a good chance he's just not going to do it. He's very rarely there at the end too, which is weird because even he admittedly has said like he just can't figure those types of tracks out. And everybody loves to sit there and say like, oh well, super speedways, luck. It's all about luck, and it's like really well. If it was luck, then why are the 5, 6, 7, 8 guys always seem to be there at the end? Whether it's Logano, Blaney, Cindric, Stenhouse, Corey LaJoy, Kyle Busch, William Byron. Those guys are always seemingly there at the end. Brad Keselowski, Noah Gragson, those guys always seem to find themselves, lurking around the front. When push comes to shove. Bubba Wallace is another one. And it's not luck. It is skill. It's just a different type of skill. But Larson, I feel like, is one guy that if you're going to lock him in now, I think that would be a safe bet because I don't know that you're going to get better than plus 1,100 for him unless he just goes out and lays an egg in qualifying. But it could happen. But it's I don't know, 11 plus 1,100, $10 bet wins you 110. That seems like a pretty solid return on Kyle Larson any week, let alone at a course that I know he can absolutely win at. And then the other guy I like is Chris Buescher, plus 2,600. He won Watkins Glen. If you remember, he beat Shane Van Gisbergen back in September and put the boots to him, moved him out of the way on the final lap at the Glen, and took that one down. That was one of our biggest wins of the year last year. We had him, I think, plus 36 or plus 3,800. And he ended up pulling that one out for us. Buescher, the Texas tough guy, can drive road courses. He is excellent on these courses. He's a very good driver, and I really like his odds. 2,600 is really good for him. Again, I might wait until qualifying because I want to see it might bite me in the ass, but I feel like he's not going to move too much off of that regardless. So I might just hold off on that. But Larson, I think if you're going to lock anybody in pre-qualifying, Larson going off at plus 1,100, I feel like that's a steal. Because there's nothing that guy can't drive. So just that's almost seems like too easy money to take. So those are my COTA predictions, Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, for Sunday at 3 o'clock. Now we'll review real quick before we get out of here, I'll do a quick review on Atlanta. So Atlanta on Sunday, we had KFB, Kyle fucking Busch, plus 1,100. Ross Chastain, plus 2,500. Slick fucking Willie, plus 2,200. And Josh Berry at plus 3,000. All four of those guys led laps. Josh Berry won stage one. We hit that. Josh Berry, Ross Chastain was starting on the inside of row one on the pole position for the green-white checkered. When they went to overtime, Kyle Busch was up there all day. Like I said, all four of these guys led laps. But like we saw the week before at Daytona, super speedways giveth and super speedways taketh away. And Josh Berry got caught up in that wreck that ultimately ended the race in going into turn 3 on Sunday afternoon. Awesome race. I cannot wait. I'm actually looking at tickets to go down to Atlanta in June and just go watch. The tickets were like $38. And that has got to be the best race, best super speedway racing that we'll see all year. If they could figure out how to get these cars to drive the way they do it at Atlanta, like they to make them drive that way at Dega and Daytona, oh my God, it'd be it already is must-see TV, but they would just be so much better. Atlanta is got to be the best bang for the buck, super speedway wise, entertainment wise. It is fun. It is close racing. There's beating. There's banging. Handling comes into effect. Everything. It is kind of just the perfect blend of pack racing and handling and speed and driver skill that you'll find anywhere. So that was a good one. We came close. I mean, like I said, we had Ross Chastain at plus 2,500. A lap away from winning that thing. Kyle Busch ended up in the top 10. I believe Ross ended up in the top 10. So Kyle Busch and Ross both finished, I think, like 7th and 10th, respectively. Josh Berry got wrecked out. Slick Willie got wrecked out with 5 laps to go as well. So we got kind of bit in the ass there. But all of them led laps. Josh Berry was my long shot, and he ended up starting third. And they still gave him plus 3,000 odds, which I thought was crazy. He wins stage 1. He dominated. I think he led like 60-something laps, like second most laps. I think Logano led the most laps, or was it Cindric that led the most laps? But regardless, we were on to something with those Penske Ford and the Penske cars and the Penske Fords and the Fords in general. We were right there. So we were close. We were really close. I really wish NASCAR wouldn't have thrown the caution, for that wreck on the backstretch. I think it was far enough down the backstretch where I don't think it was going to really affect anything. We were lining up for what was looking like it was going to be another spectacular 3-wide finish with Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and the worst name to say with a Boston accent, Casanosova, who, I don't know if you guys watched the race or not, absolutely nobody was happy with. Ryan Blaney referred to Carson Hocevar over the radio as a, quote, certified weapon because he just drives through people. He spins them. He makes dumb moves. He's super aggressive. He got punched in the face at Talladega a couple years ago during the truck race after he caused a major wreck in the fall race at Dega. It was awesome. I really like his style. He is like Brad Keselowski meets Dale Earnhardt, meets Ernie Irvan. He'll fucking wreck you. He's fast as hell, and he'll wreck you if he has to. And I like that about him. He's aggressive, and he's trying to stake out his claim. He's a rookie, and he wants to make it his spot known in this car, in the 77 Spire Motorsports car. And he's going to be there a lot this year. You're going to hear that name. I think he's going to be a guy. If a rookie is going to win a race this year, it's definitely going to be Hocevar. He's very talented. I've seen him in iRacing a bunch. He's the exact same way in iRacing as he is on the track, which is hilarious. An absolute weapon. If you're around him, he'll fucking send it and doesn't care if he wrecks himself and everybody else. It just is what it is at that point. So a lot of fun, though. Sunday was great. Atlanta was awesome. I can't wait. June 28th. I think it's one of the only, if not the only, I think it's that and Bristol, the only 2 Saturday night races this year. Well, besides the All-Star race, obviously. Actually, no, I think the All-Star race is on Sunday this year, too. But I think that's one of the few Saturday night races that we get. Daytona. So I think it's just Daytona and Atlanta. I think those are the only two, because I think the Bristol night race is on Sunday now, which is great. I love Saturday night racing. It's it's tradition. So that'll be fun. June 28th. I'm thinking about flying down and going to see it. I don't know. I'll have to see how my schedule works out, but I would really like to go. The tickets, like I said, tickets were super cheap. They were like $38 for general admission. Just go in and sit where you want. Like, dude, that's a fucking steal. So I might just fly down to Georgia and go catch a race on a Saturday night, play some golf, and come home. We'll see what happens. But COTA bets, I will put up my official post, either Saturday night or Sunday morning on the Row 1 Seat 1 page. I'll share it to my personal page as well. But if you want to see it first, check out make sure you like and follow the Row 1 Seat 1 Facebook page. That's where I'll put it initially. So you'll be able to see my bets with the breakdown. I'll give a full breakdown of who I like, why I like them, the whole nine, as I did last week. And, the goal is to make us all some money. I can't tell you how much to bet on them. I can't tell you, definitely stick with my guys or don't, whatever. But bottom line, listen, we were close again this past week. We were really close to starting the season off 2-0 again. We started off 1-0 last year, came up 0.007 seconds short of starting off 2-0 last year. This year, Ross couldn't quite make it happen for us, but hey, we're working it. We're working it, and we're getting close. So I like COTA. We hit COTA last year with Slick Willie, so we started off, 2 out of 3 to start the season. Let's see if we can duplicate that success, and hopefully, if you follow the bets and you tail us, you make money, I make money, we all make money, everybody's happy. But be sure to like and follow Row 1 Seat 1 on Facebook. That's where you'll see my bets every Saturday. I'll try to get them up every Saturday night, either late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. They'll be up. But you'll see the post. I'll share it, like I said, to my personal page. But if you want to see it first, like and share. Like and subscribe to our Row 1 Seat 1 Facebook page, and that's where you'll get it. So until next Tuesday, hopefully we'll have a full house next week. Hopefully we'll be able to sit here and talk some nonsense and get into the combine and some off-season football, and hopefully there'll be some juicy stuff. I did want to get into Steve Smith being a complete dog and just absolutely railing some poor dude's wife left and right, and then him finding out about it, confronting him. It was all, I had the videos and everything cut up, and it was going to be funny, but it's only funny if everybody else is here to laugh at it with me. So maybe we'll have a laugh at that one next week. But until next week, I am Joey Fats. This is Row 1 Seat 1, live on the one, the only, the New Bedford Guide. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you guys, everybody in the chat, everybody watching on New Bedford Guide or any of the other pages, Fall River, New Bedford, Tri-Town, New Bedford Reporter, wherever you might be watching this. And, of course, to all of our fans on Mixlr as well. We appreciate y'all. And we'll be back next Tuesday night, 8:45 p.m. Hopefully, again, like I said, full house with Plizzy and Mr. Betancourt. And we'll whoop it up and we'll get after it. So happy hunting. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Row 1 Seat 1 Facebook page so you can get the COTA bets that I'm going to put out on Saturday or Sunday. Definitely before the green flag drops. Don't worry about that. And let's happy hunting, and let's make some fucking money this weekend, boys. All right. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday night. Peace.